Alrighty. How is everyone doing? I am still trying to figure out how exactly to make this work on YouTube. Okay, that works. Hey, the cheat, how's it going? Right, I don't need that one. I need YouTube Live. Control room. Hey, it worked this time. Vossi's loss. One second, let me... Oh, don't do that. And give me just 1 second. I gotta make a post about this. What button is this? Oh, there we go. Well, I misspelled something, but it's too late for that. All right, this week's winner is the Iron Golem with 43% of the votes. Close that. There we go. All right. I'd say let's give it just a couple minutes. Let people come back in if they are available. And then we can get started. Probably go that down just a little bit more. I'm a little higher up in the screen, maybe? We'll see how that adjusts in just a second. I think there's a bit of a delay, even though I have it set on, like, ultra low latency. A thingy. Alright. Well, let's see. So, starting off, I had been making the Pathfinder and D&D stat blocks and posting them up. And I posted the one I had done most recently that I had gotten finished was the Gargoyle, which, yes, I know I'm super far behind because that's episode 3 and this is now episode 9. But I got a lot of feedback on the Pathfinder 2nd Edition subreddit. Uh, some of it was constructive. I can say that. What I can, so their feedback was I was incorrectly using basic saves as a phrase. One person, possibly two, suggested instead of having layers and calling them layer actions, which is very 5th edition D&D coded, to instead look at how hazards work and maybe have layers be hazards instead of being called layer actions. So I've got the hazard rules pulled up for Pathfinder 2nd Edition on Archives of Nethys, and we'll be looking at that. Another thing was removing recharges. I was using recharges that were mostly to add randomness, but it seems at least all the people that gave feedback were largely against randomness or random ability availability, and instead having charges for it and having like long cooldowns for the charges. Say like once a day, twice a day, something like that. And then there was some confusion because I call these boss monsters, which a boss monster, at least to Pathfinder 2nd Edition people, they seem to think that a boss monster is 3 ranks or 3 levels above players. So they were looking at the CR4 monsters and expecting level 1 players to go against them, which that absolutely won't work. Any of these monsters would destroy a level 1 party. And I'm not entirely sure how a level 4 monster wouldn't wipe the floor with a level 1 party anyway. Because a level 4 monster generally assumes that you have a striking rune on your weapon, so you're dealing more damage. And at level 2, anything past level 2 assumes you have an additional +1 to hit from the weapon potency runes. So I'm not 100% certain how that's supposed to work. But making it clear that the creature is instead treated as 2 creatures for the intent of balancing, and using essentially 2 creatures to make a boss monster means you don't have these super strong critical swings that creatures that are 3 ranks above players seem to have. So it's to tone that down, but allowing more utility for the boss to make the combat more dynamic and engaging. So that's the feedback I received and what I could, as far as I could tell, act upon. So first thing first, look at the hazards. Detecting hazards, triggering hazards. All right. Hazards dungeons are rife with devious traps meant to protect the treasures within. These range from mechanical devices that shoot darts or drop heavy blocks to magic runes that explode into bursts of flame. In addition to traps, adventurers may stumble upon other types of hazards, including naturally occurring environmental hazards, mysterious hauntings, and more. Oh, hey, hauntings. Never encountered one of those. Detecting a hazard Every hazard has a trigger of some kind that sets its dangers in motion. For traps, this can be a mechanism like a tripwire or pressure plate, while for an environmental hazard or haunt, the trigger may simply be proximity. When characters approach a hazard, they have a chance of finding the trigger area or mechanism before triggering the hazard. They automatically receive a check to detect hazards unless the hazard requires a minimum proficiency rank to do so. During exploration, determine whether the party detects a hazard when the PCs first enter the general area in which it appears. If the hazard doesn't list a minimum proficiency rank, roll a secret perception check against hazard's stealth DC for each PC. For hazards with a minimum proficiency rank, roll only if someone is actively searching, using the search activity while exploring, or they seek action in an encounter, and only if they have the listed proficiency rank or higher. Anyone who succeeds becomes aware of the hazard, and you can describe what they notice. Magical hazards that don't have a minimum proficiency rank can be found using Detect Magic, but this spell doesn't provide enough information to understand or disable the hazard. It only reveals the hazard's presence. Determining a magical hazard's properties through thoroughly enough to disable it requires either the use of more powerful magic or a successful skill check, likely using identify magic or recall knowledge. Magical hazards with a minimum proficiency rank, yeah, but basically the same as before. Triggering a hazard. If a group fails to detect a hazard, the hazard's trigger is a standard part of traveling, such as stepping on a floor plate, moving through a magical sensor. Reaction or free action. Most hazards have reactions that occur when triggered. For simple hazards, the reaction is the entirety of the hazard's effect. For complex hazards, I think probably simple hazards is what we would do. And it would be presence. But it sounds like people want a way to turn off the hazard, which maybe that would be a good thing for players to spend actions on in the boss encounter, would be to a means of stopping the lair action, or either negating or lessening the effect of a lair action. So I think we can do that. So means of negation, or what would be the right word for this? Or reduction, we'll call it. Okay. Damaging a hazard. So damaging a mechanical trap or other physical object works like damaging objects. The hazard reduces the damage it takes by hardness. Most cases, hitting the hazard also triggers it, as explained in attacking hazards below. Okay. Monsters and hazards. The statistics for NPCs and monsters usually don't list their proficiency ranks. Most of the time, they don't need to deal with detecting or disabling hazards. Okay, that's just encountering them. Hazard experience. Uh, bu, bu, bu. Hazard format, hazard name, level. Hazard level indicates what level party is good challenge for it. If the hazard involves a toxin, curse, or other non-spell feature, that feature's level is the hazard level. Okay. Traits. Most notable hazard traits are trap, constructed to harm intruders, environmental, natural hazards, and haunt, spectral phenomena. Traps that have a trait to indicate whether they are magical or mechanical hazards that have initiative and a routine have the complex trait. Okay. Simple hazards. Wait, is it? Okay, that's this. Okay. Oh. Complex hazards. Okay. And then this is the list of hazards we can look at when looking at setting up the boss's lair. Alrighty. So we went over the lair as a hazard. Basic save versus saves is something that's on me. Basically, I need to make sure that anything with a save has the Pathfinder standard 4 levels of success of critical success, success, failure, critical failure. And so the next part before we get into the actual monster is looking at what level this should be to be a low level boss encounter that would challenge a party and what level they should fight it at. Level 4, I was originally expecting level 4 to be a party of 4 level 4s going up this creature, but unfortunately, a party of 4 level 4s going up against what is effectively 2 CR4 creatures is only a moderate encounter, which isn't a boss encounter. The party would need to be level 3 for it to be severe, which is what a boss encounter should be. Because it is intended, severe is intended for boss encounters that happen once an adventure. So if we pull that up. Where? Here we go. So as you can see, severe threat encounters are the hardest encounters most groups of characters have a good chance to defeat. These encounters are appropriate for important moments in your story, such as confronting a final boss. Use severe encounters carefully. There's a good chance a character could die, and a small chance the whole group could. Bad luck, poor tactics, or a lack of resources can easily turn a severe threat encounter against the characters, and a wise group needs the option to disengage open. Keeps the option to disengage open. So severe threat is our target. But having it be level 4 means the party would need to be level 3. So if I bring this over and just use the Faceless Stalker as an example, a level 4, 2 level 4 creatures are severe for a level 3. The problem being is a level 4 creature largely expects you to have a second weapon damage die on your attacks. So a boss... So if this was a party of level 4, the CR would need to be 5. So if we change this to 5, a Basilisk, remove that. It needs to be 1 rank higher than the party. So I think going forward, the CR we should be balancing around is probably level 5 instead of level 4, since you get the striking runes at roughly 4. That way, we don't deal with the rune discrepancy, which will cause a spike in boss health that is more difficult to overcome at a reduced level. Although I guess I could leave it to you guys. Would you prefer because this is supposed to be a low-level boss, would you prefer it to be a CR3, or not CR, but a level 3, and the party being 2? So would you rather focus a level 3 creature? Would you rather this series focus on level 3 creatures and them being early level boss? or level 5 creatures and just be a little bit later. So you're thinking level 3 to cheat? Okay. So we will look at level 3 going forward. So we want to... All right. So now that we got that out of the way, building creatures. A little bit of the feedback was that I didn't understand what. Oh wait, I need creature levels. So I need the what? DM or rule? No, game mastery. Nope, rules. GM screen. That's what I want. Creature numbers. Right, let's do this. So creature numbers, and we are going to be looking at level 3. Okay. Okay, so select monster level 3, Iron Golem. Oh, this is hazards. What is this? Oh, building creatures. Is that the one I want? That's the one. All right, so somebody suggested going more with the building creatures, and I think that's a good place to start. It's going to do a lot of what we're already doing, I think. So develop the concept. Think about your creature, make notes, and what you want for future steps. So this... Wait, why is this... Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so level 3. So develop the concept. Concept, my initial thought. So when I think of Iron Golems, which is what won the poll for this week, there's 2 bosses I think of from video games. One is the Iron Golem from Dark Souls. So if you see this? Make sure it comes up. Oh, wait. This is the Iron Golem from Dark Souls. Uses an axe. It seems to have like a ranged wind attack. Oh, hey, Psycho Gaze. A stomp. Cleave. And I know because of this map, you can actually, when it does that back hop, it can back hop itself off the map and instantly kill itself. But in the fight, you work on beating its legs and it falls down. I know if you attack one of its, similar to the demons of Dark Souls 3, you can attack a single leg and they will fall. Yep, that's the wrong thing. I'm trying to... Nope. Come on, just work, please. There we go. Oh, come on now. Why don't you want to work? Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. There we go. Tarkus to make a chump out of it. Tarkus to make a chump out of it. I did not look into the Smelter Demon of Dark Souls 2, and I've actually never played Dark Souls 2. Smelter Demon of Dark Souls 2. Fires okay, but the cool ability is an aura that damages you while nearby. So I had thought, so that sort of wraps into my second, like touchstone for me anyway, for an Iron Golem, and that is Karadin from Dragon Age Origins. He was a paragon. Oh, I'm echoing? He was a paragon. Did that fix it? Okay, cool. So, Karadin, from Dragon Age Origins, he was a dwarf. So, in the Dragon Age universe, the golems are eternal guardians for the dwarves. They are essentially people that are sacrificed on Anvil of the Void, on the Anvil of the Void, and their soul essence consciousness is put into a golem that is ageless and will fight for the dwarven people. So I really like that concept. And when sort of thinking that over, I came up with this general concept of fading sentience. In Pathfinder 2nd Edition, there is a mindless trait. And I wanted to do a less, like, strong version of that. Where they're not mindless, but they are not always available to be affected through, like, will saves. So I was thinking maybe a flat check for auto success on will saves, but their actual will save being quite low. So those are my two, like, touchstones. And for because I was looking at Pathfinder, where is it? So their closest thing to an Iron Golem, which in the updated version is now called a Iron Warden, it breathes poison and it does poison stuff, and I think that's a little bit much. I'm not really looking for that. I'm looking more for a, like, Iron Guardian sort of deal. I'm not so much looking for poison. I wouldn't be against, like, fire stuff, so maybe it was like a Forge Guardian or something like that. And as far as name, I'm thinking maybe Tarnished Golem or something like that. Since it is a much lower level creature than a lot of these, because the Stone Golem, I believe I had next. Yep, there it is. It is also a creature 11, which is still quite high. And the goal of this is to be a much lower level. Alright, cool. So, then they have some basic stuffs on golems here. And then where is the materials? I had them somewhere. So that's, material statistics. So thin iron or steel, iron or steel, HP 36. What does BT stand for? Broken threshold. So it's half its health is broken. And hardness is 9. That hardness is too hard, essentially. Because a iron 9. So somebody with a D8, if they only had a +1, they wouldn't deal any damage. They could never deal any damage on anything but a critical hit. And as somebody who's gone up against creatures that have had that happen sometimes, I think maybe we want to avoid that. We want to make sure the maths, unless we have a specific means of getting around it. So if it's tarnished iron, I could say maybe 4 for hardness. So it's basically half as strong. Might be good. But I don't know if we want to actually give it hardness or not. We may just want to equate that hardness in its resistances. So those are Karadin and the Iron Golem from Dark Souls are the big two that I had been thinking about. And I had also had a concept of components. So maybe have a list of weapons or attachments that the DM could select for. Like if they wanted to have more than one of these throughout a campaign, they could do that. Or if it's a higher level group, use essentially 2 of these in the same encounter. So it's essentially 4 monsters instead of 2. Does anybody have? So we are still in the developing the concept stage. Does anybody have any other golem touchstones that they think would be good to add into the concept so we can look back on them when we are filling out the numbers and the special abilities and such? The Iron Golem for Minecraft. So that came up a bunch when trying to look up the Iron Golem for Dark Souls, but I am largely unfamiliar with Minecraft in general. Am I using the word incorrectly, Psycho Gaze? My cultural reference point, I guess, would be another way to say it. Just acts like a guard for villagers. Any additional abilities or things that stand out? Because I have Guardian on here. Because I had thought about maybe it was like a Forge Guard or something, but I didn't want to get too specific in that direction to allow DMs to be able to set it up as a maybe General Guardian. Yeah, the original Mud Golem, which I believe comes from I don't I don't know. It feels weird calling it mythology because it's from Jewish stories, Judaism. I don't know how proper terminology for it. Well, I guess you could call it Christian mythology also. I don't know. It seems a little bit dismissive saying mythology of a religion that's still around today. So in that story, I believe it was like a word inscribed, and then you had to either change the word. Like in some versions, it was like either you had to change the word that was inscribed, or you had to like remove the word that was inscribed to deactivate. We could have that. Have the like an inscription that if it is damaged or removed, uh, it essentially reduces the creature to 0 hit points. Because what was it? Alphonse Elric. Uh, he was inhabiting like a suit of armor, but there was the alchemical symbol like on the like inside the back of the chest plate, and if that symbol had gotten destroyed or something, he would have like died. We could lean into that inscription slash symbol, I guess. Um, anything else that stands out? Okay. Level. We already got that set. Size. I believe we're gonna go with large, which means it's in Pathfinder. It's going to have 10 foot of reach, because as far as I know, pretty much every large creature has 10 feet reach. Size and traits. Uh, let's go. Size. Traits. We can look at the golems for these. Construct. So these are mindless. I wanted to go with. I didn't want to have mindless. I wanted them to have that like fading sentience thing, but I think that's more of a special ability. What is it? Bon Mot. And what's the other one? Intimidate. Nope. I don't know why I didn't like that. Oh. Skills. Intimidation. Oh, it's coerce is what I was looking for. Not intimidate. So this is mental, linguistic, exploration. Oh, wait, no. Coerce is not the same thing I was thinking of. Coerce. Demoralize is what I was thinking of. So emotion, fear, and mental. Okay, it's a will save DC. Okay, so it will saves. And let's make sure Bon Mod is the same. Nope, that's coerce. Bon Mot. And against their will save. Okay, so we're good with will saves. It will affect Bon Mot and demoralize as well. So which was at least my intended concept. So level, size, and traits. Where was it? So construct mindless, which we didn't want mindless. And those are just mindless, construct, mindless. Okay, so there's not a whole lot there. Just construct mainly. HP, we wanted by level. It's level 3. So HP is 55, and we want so if we're treating it as 2 monsters, but it becomes a little bit more powerful after it goes to the second stage, I'd say keeping it with our basically 150%. So half plus half. So what, 55 plus, we'll call it 30. Let's call it 35. So put it at 90 HP. So it's not the same as 2 level 3s, which would be 110. Resistances. Where... Oh, you don't need coerce anymore. Shouldn't need that or that. Sorry, just trying to clear it up some. Don't need that. We already looked at that. I think we're good on that. Keratin. I don't think we have anything else to grab from Keratin, do we? It doesn't say anything about his abilities. Nope. Oh, wait. Oh, he just heals himself with lyrium veins. Okay. Demoralize. Don't need. Alright. So let's look at their immunities. Bleed. Makes sense. Death effects. Disease. Doomed. Drained. I don't know. So what does drain do? Exactly. Your health vitality had been depleted as you've lost blood, life force, or some other essence. Drained always includes a value. You take a status penalty equal to the drained value on constitution-based rolls and DCs, such as fortitude saves. What if we did something with the drained condition that players could affect? Because... oh, that's fatigued. Constitution-based rolls and DCs, such as fortitude saves. Also lose a number of hit points, minimum equal to your level, times the drained value, and your maximum hit points are reduced in this way. So what if we remove drained from immunities and added a means of draining? So sort of leaning into a puzzle thing of maybe inflicting a specific type of damage or doing something specific. Like in Dragon Age Origins, there were the command rods. Maybe using the command rod applies the drained condition. Maybe there's something with that we could look into. Fatigued. Fire. Effects of fire trait. Deal fire damage. So you had mentioned earlier the Forge Demon from Dark Souls 2 to cheat. That maybe we could lean into that if it is an Iron Golem. So having fire on here might be good. Oh, Smelter Demon. Mental. No, we're not doing that. Non-lethal. Attacks. Paralyzed. Poison. Sickened. Spirit, if we're leaning into these are spirits that were put in, I think removing that. Unconscious. Vitality. Void. Portable forge in the belly of an iron golem would be cool. Okay. If there's a controller for the golem, maybe a chance to use the golem against them if you get the rod. Yeah, we could do a control rod. I'm thinking though, if we're going like tarnished golem, maybe it being a like faulty control rod. Because tarnished would mean probably that they are in at least some manner of disrepair. Portable forge in the belly of an iron golem would be pretty cool. So do we want to lean into fire like abilities and effects, or do we want to lean in to just standard? Like this is old. This is like an old tarnished creature, or do we want to lean into this is an old tarnished creature with still like a fire power source sort of deal? What do you guys think? Okay. Control rod. We'll figure out what to do with that in a minute. Because I think it is going to have. So what is it? The traits. I figure it's probably going to have an extreme fortitude, and you could use the control rod to cause drained, which both injures it and reduces its fortitude saves. I don't think it affects its AC though. Where we go? What was drained again? Health and vitality, lose number of hit points equal to your level, so it would be losing 3, so every point of drained. Maximum hit points on on. Losing the hit point doesn't count as taking damage. Okay, resistances. Physical 15 except adamantine. Spells 15 except acid spells that cause rust. Okay, that seems overly specific. I'm thinking not vulnerability, weakness. I'm thinking acid probably 5 for damage. We could do, instead of negative healing, we do like fire healing. What do you guys think about that? That way we could do some fire stuff with it. So if it were to take fire damage, it would become healed for like a small amount or something like that. Because I know undead in this have negative healing, which if they take specific negative damage, they heal instead. What do you guys think about that? Like it's not necessary, it's just a concept. Resistance, physical. So what did we say? Okay. So it's immune to fire, but we could give it, what is it, negative healing? Oh, it's void healing is what they changed it to now. They don't have fire healing, do they? That would be kind of neat. Nope. Okay. So we are going trait. Oh, let me pull up a zombie because I just need a zombie. Just give me normal zombie is all I want. You know what? Zombie Hulk. Sure, why not? Ugh. Undead, unholy zombie. Okay, so void healing is a creature ability, so it's going to fall into abilities. Void healing, a creature with void healing draws health from void energy rather than vitality energy. If it is damaged by vitality damage and not healed by healing vitality effects. Okay. It does not take void damage and is healed by void effects that heal undead. So I think we can give it fire healing. Gain HP equal to fire damage taken. Gain HP equal to fire damage that would be taken. Oh, that's too far. I lost track of where I was. Oh, so if we're giving it fire healing, I'm thinking we need to give it a minor weakness to cold. What do you think? If we're going to give it healing on fire, I think we should give it a weakness to cold. Probably not as direct as Acid 5, so probably less than 5. What do you think? 2? Cold 2? Okay, so if we gave it rust, abilities with the, because I believe there is a water tag. Or there's a water trait right here. Effects with the water trait either manipulate or conjure water. Those that manipulate water have no effect on an area without water. Creatures with this trait consist primarily of water or have connection to magical water. Is there like spells? Ooh, what if we did that? So if we get rid of the drained on the control rod, and instead abilities with the water trait, have them apply drained. So abilities with the water trait apply drained 1. So essentially they will deal an additional 3 damage. Okay, so yeah. They don't deal cold damage automatically, right? I don't think they do. Yeah, they usually do like bludgeoning damage. Okay. So the abilities with water trait / spells with the water trait apply drained 1. So we could. So there's a means of applying the drain condition with taking advantage of its tarnished nature and applying drained. This will. This is a means of reducing its fortitude saves as well, along with it dealing an additional 3 damage. Okay, let's go. Shouldn't need that anymore. Void healing, don't need that anymore. Alright, physical 15. So resistance. So if we figure a d6 for hit die, because a lot of people can get 8s and 10s, but we figure a d6 for like an average character to try and be safe. We figure they have at least a. Like an optimized character would usually have a +4 to maybe their damaging stat, but let's call it a +2. So d6 +2. So we're looking at 5.5 damage is the average damage of a player, because there's no additional hit die or damage dice. I'm thinking maybe physical 4 for reduction, because this is also a level where we can't really, because adamantine is level 8+. I believe I've got some of these materials. Yeah. So if players are going to be level 2, they got warp glass. Oh, sorry. Cold iron. Sister stone. Wait, no. So just silver and cold iron, which cold iron's mostly against Fae, and silver is basically unholy stuff, generally more shapeshifters. So I think maybe we just have a reduced physical resistance, which if we were looking at the other one, it would be like 4. But I'm wondering if that's a little bit too much for this low level, so I'm thinking maybe physical 3. Does that seem reasonable? That way, even if somebody rolled. So if you rolled minimum damage and only had +2 damage modifier, you would still do 0, but as long as you don't roll minimum, you would deal something. All right, physical 3. Spells 15. Let's see what these have. The stone ones have. Physical 10, spells 10. So it looks like probably let's give them the same. Spells 3. Except acid and acid, cold, and water. Okay. Seem okay so far. So, traits, construct, HP 90, resistance, physical 3, spells 3, except acid, cold, and water. Immunity, bleed, death effects, disease, doomed, fatigued, fire, healing, non-lethal attacks, paralyzed, poison, sickened, unconscious, vitality, and void. Weakness, acid 5, cold 2. I don't think we need an item to overcome the resistance in this case. Weak point. Do we want the inscription symbol? I think this, if we had a weak point. Okay, so there's also the legs. Do we want to do, like, weak point legs to maybe reduce its movement and mobility? Oh yeah, just remember there's also the large golems in Elden Ring. Yeah, where you beat on the ankles until they fall over. Okay. Legs. Oh, we don't have AC. We want its AC to be 19. I think. Its health is already reduced a little bit. If you've got +3 to your 2 hit, and you're trained, which is an additional +2 plus your level, that's what? 2 plus level at level 2 is 4, plus 3 from your stat, that's 7. That means you would need to roll a 12 or higher to hit a 19 already. Yeah, let's not mess with that. Let's just leave at AC 19. So there is, I guess, the idea that we could have so we could have more than one weak point. And that comes back to the, like, components or optional components, arms, weapons, etc. that so we could have, say, it holding a shield in one arm and a weapon in the other, And if you attack the shield arm, maybe like damage and break it, it would then lose its access to those abilities. So maybe it would no longer be able to raise its shield. Which, if we're giving it a shield, maybe 18 would be better. We are giving it lots of resistances and stuff. Or yeah, let's give it 18 for AC. So weak point, legs, shield arm, weapon arm. What? Let's go with axe, and then do we want to have more weapon loadouts for these that you can choose? Or do we want to just try and keep it simple and go with like one general like loadout? Simple is good. Okay. Okay. So shield, axe, and legs, and then inscription, I think should be the final one. Weak point, so AC 20. Hardness 4. Actually no, let's actually yeah, hardness 4. And then so let's see. If you deal So if it has hardness 4, it's going to reduce whatever damage you deal by 4. What should be the damage threshold for, I guess, if we're going with the Elden Ring sort of deal, of knocking it prone? So just figure it's whatever you're saying plus 4 is the target number a player would have to hit to get the additional mark off of the legs. What is their movement speed? Speed 20 feet. So we could do, and because it's tarnish, I could say I could easily see speed of 15 feet. Bloodied or crit, maybe? What do you mean? Oh, well, so we're talking about the weak points of the legs. In Elden Ring, you smack the ankles until they like fall prone, and then you get access to the other weak points. So the inscription could maybe be only reachable when prone. Uh, what is it? No. Trip. Use weapon to trip athletics skill. With the athletic skill, you can operate hand. This uses the weapon's reach. Adds a weapon's unbuffed to attack rolls. Athletic checks. If you critically fail a check to trip using the weapon, you can drop the weapon. Okay, so it's an athletics thing that I need to be looking at. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Skills, athletics, climb, force open, grapple, high jump, long jump, reposition, shove. Reposition maybe? Is there like... Oh, trip. Here we go. You try to knock a creature prone, attempt an athletic check against the target's reflex DC. I think maybe we do something about trip and tie it to fortitude. So when you use water attacks to give it a reduction to being knocked prone, or you drain its fortitude, you make the trip easier. So let's give it... what would be a name for this feature? Uses fortitude against trip. Features that would not hit. What would be a good name for this? Because I was planning on... So if its fortitude is going to be extreme, and then part of an approach for this encounter is using water trait abilities to give it the drain condition, thus reducing its fortitude, I imagined its reflex would be bad, and it's already got the will thing of the fading sentience that... Where did I put that? Some sort of flat check for will saves. So let's say flat check 10. Is 10 too much? Actually make it... Yeah, flat check 11, I think. So it's 50-50. So this way we avoid the mindless thing. That way, lower level players that are using mental effects like bards or some of the other casters have a chance of using it, and then we're going to give it fort, reflex, will. We wanted extreme for its fortitude, so high would be 12. We'll give it 14. Reflex, low, so +6. And will +6. Actually, let's give it will +4 since we have the 50-50 shot on it. So it has a higher chance of maybe critically failing some of the will saves. I think we're set there. Oh, what would be a good name for the... Where did I go? for this, where it instead uses fortitude against abilities that would force it to go prone or knock it prone. What might be a good name for that? Man, it is dry in my house. Hands are drying out even. It's crazy. That's a hard one. We can always come back to it. Here, let me highlight it a different color so I remember to come back to this. Oh, right. I'm using the thing that changes the color of things. Let me guess. Is that red? Nope, that's blue. Opposite would be green, right? So, bright pink. You know what? That's fine. So we'll leave that. We've taken care of its base statistics. Oh, what sent us down this rabbit hole was the weak point. Hardness legs. So if we're trying to knock it prone, AC 20, so it's higher than just attacking it. Hardness 4. Let's say what is it? Damage threshold? Is that how hardness was determined? Oh, that's not it. That's also not it. Oh, we have lost it. Okay. Actually, wait. The whole point is the legs are easier to hit, aren't they? So 16. Let's up that hardness. 8 might be too much. 6. So these are easier to hit. Six damage. Ready to save. So this is us trying to knock it prone to get to the inscription. What should the damage threshold be after the hardness to make it fall prone? Granted, these are easier to hit, so they should be easier to crit as well. So if we go back to what we were thinking earlier of D6 plus 2 for damage, we could look at a crit of that is going to be what? It's 5.5, so 11. So damage threshold 5. How would we determine if it were to make a fort save? How would we determine the DC for that? So the fort is plus 14. If we gave it a fortitude save against prone. I guess we already have the hardness. So let's remove the damage threshold. if it takes damage, so let's put this at 8, and then what do you think? Hardness 8. Then if it takes any damage over 8, it would need to make maybe a flat check. Or do we want to have it use the fort save? I'm thinking, so if a party doesn't have water attacks, they're not going to be inflicting the drained, so the fortitude is going to stay very high. So maybe we don't have this be fortitude. Flat check. Um, what percent chance do you think they should fall prone upon successfully breaking hardness 8? Maybe flat check 8? Just keep the number simple. So they have a 60% chance of falling prone if their legs get hit for this amount. That seems reasonable. That's more than 50% of the time it would fall. And with the lower AC, it could fall. Let's call this heart. Is also only reachable when prone. Now, should... I know we were thinking large, but what if we said huge? I think that more accurately describes the like size difference. Okay. Uh, AC 18 less reach or range. Oh wait, no. 18 is normal. We want 20. Because while it is prone, it's also off guard. HP. We want a much smaller HP pool than 90. So what is half of 90 is 45, half again is like 22 and a half. Say HP 20. On being reduced to 0, Golem dies. There we go. Okay, so shield arm. AC 16. Hardness 8. HP 1. Actually, instead of giving this its own HP, damage dealt to art is doubled. Flat check 8 against being unable to use raise shield or shield block. Right? Raise shield is just adding it. Position your shield to give yourself a bonus to AC until the start of your next turn. Shield block is a reaction. You and the shield each take remaining damage, possibly breaking or destroying the shield. Okay. Whoop. What is the... Nope, that's not the one I want. Wait. Nope, clumsy isn't the right one. Enfeebled, I think is the correct one. Okay. Hardness 8. Flat check. Actually, let's do... Save against enfeebled 2. So this could be... This is more you combining it with the other stuff. You Fortitude save against enfeebled 2, so that would reduce his ability to attack. That seem reasonable? So legs, they all have the reduced AC to hit. Legs is flat check 8 against prone. Shield is flat check 8 against being unable to raise the shield or shield block. Let's go ahead and just make this a flat save, actually. Flat check against, and let's just make it enfeebled 1. Because this is like the alternate means of fighting it if you don't have water attacks. Say like a party of like a barbarian, a thief, and a warrior, and or a fighter, and one other, and say like a ranger, all go up against this iron golem. They would focus on attacking the different parts because the damage they take, um, hmm, because hardness is going to reduce. Maybe we don't do hardness. We just let the resistance handle it. Um, hmm. Okay, so well, first thing first, we got to figure out how hardness and resistance interact. We would need to figure out do should the resistances and weaknesses stack, or they would apply first, I assume. So if they're applying first, let's go ahead and say here, if we want this to be 8, it should be hardness 5 for these. Because that way it'll stack and there's no issue. And then we don't have to worry about that. Because it'll be reduced by resistance. I believe resistance would happen before the hardness would take effect. I want to increase that by 1 because somebody with a pole arm or a bow or a gun or something would likely aim for it first. And we want that to be like the big target. Okay. And enfeebled 1 usually goes away at the start of a turn. Let's go ahead and make it enfeebled 2. Because it's going to have the more turns like we normally do. That way, once it gets back around to the previous turn, it then falls off. Which then makes it more impactful in the later stage of the fight, which I think also works. We still need a name for this. Double initiative. Recharge abilities, we don't need. As a matter of fact, a lot of people were very upset about those. Okay, bloody transition. Sorry, hold on. We need axe strike. Shield bash. Stomp. Stomp is, I think, effectively going to work in place of like a cleave, a melee cleave. The golem from Dark Souls, it would swing its axe and deal a like air slash, but with how Pathfinder deals with larger size creatures, they already get a reach. So what is it? A large creature gets 10 feet. A huge creature would get 15 feet. I don't think we need to add a ranged option because 15 feet is already significant in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. So I'm thinking maybe we just leave it with Axe Strike, Shield Bash, and Stomp. Stomp, I'm thinking like AoE, like short range AoE. Axe Strike is your normal strike, and Shield Bash, I'm thinking like smaller damage, but maybe with like Shove plus Shove. That sound okay? And have that be, it's like 3 main modes of attack. And then we go back to the GM screen for level 3, Strike plus 12. So plus 12. Whoop. It's a one-handed axe, and they suggest 1d10 plus 6. 1d10 plus 6. Shield Bash. Also plus 12. I think maybe with this one being smaller, we do 1d. It's like 1 average damage per damage die, so -1 is a d8, -2 is a d6. So 1d6 plus 6 for like a shield bash. And this also shoves 15 feet, let's call it. Fort save. DC. Oh, spell DC right here. Plus 12. Oh, wait, no. 20. $15-foot shove on DC 20. Or 30-foot on crit fail. Well, or double damage and 30-foot. Or and then stomp. I think the stomp should probably be a reflex save. That makes sense? All creatures within... let's not give it its full reach. Let's say 10 feet. Does that seem reasonable? DC 20. What are we thinking? So if it's 10 feet, I think maybe we do the stomp as a 2 action. So good success, half damage. Oh wait, no. Success, fail. Wait. So double damage plus prone. Full damage, half damage, no damage. That look good for the stomp? They get 2 actions, so it's not using it every turn. or like it's not at least wailing on people every turn. No damage on a crit success. Success is half damage. Okay. Then I think we have its basic abilities set up. Bloodied Transition. What is it? 90 HP, so HP 45. What do we think? What is the big, like, cinematic transition moment for this Tarnished Golem? In Dark Souls, it falling off the stage. But that's not really a transition, that's just the fight ending. Um, ooh, I like that. Okay, so if it shakes off the rust, what so it shakes off the rust. And I guess that would maybe allude to how its abilities might change while it's bloodied, so like additional riders or something like that. So if it shakes off the rust, what could that I guess mean or do as part of the transition? A lot of our transitions have been like additional ability, like one-time ability use. Because when I think of like a boss transitioning, honestly, what I think of mostly is now Melania, where she goes full rot goddess. Okay, we could even have it be bloody, or we could even have it be faster in general. Uh, so it could go from what was it? Speed of 15 to speed 25. Faster for that turn, so it could be faster. Um, actually, we could look at. Well, what does haste do? Magic empowers the target to act faster. It gains the quicken condition and can use the extra action each round for only strike and stride actions. Um, okay, so we don't even need to increase its speed. Gain quickened condition. Alright. And quickened. Shake off the rust. Gained quickened. So it'll gain an additional round each action. So instead of being a 3-action creature, well, I guess technically instead of being a 6-action creature, it'll be a 4-action creature. What is it? Clumsy? I think is the other thing I'm thinking of. Because that's what happens to barbarians. So gained, quickened, and clumsy. So it'll reduce its AC by 1, but gain an additional action each turn. Um. So what? So if it's literally shaking off the rust, do we want the rust to like go flying off, or how do we? So we want the rust to come off. Should the rust become like projectiles during this transition? So say you're fighting this creature, you've reduced it to 45 hit points, and this is the cutscene for the boss encounter. What happens in this cutscene that makes you go, "Oh crap, this just got real," or "This just got serious," or "This just became more dangerous"? Um. Ooh, you know what? We could lean into what's that type of barbarian you're playing? The one where you poison yourself slowly and die, but slowish. Decay barbarian. Oh, wait. We'll just go to the class, I guess. Barbarian instincts. Wait, nope. Dragon. Decay. Rotting rage. When you rage, you choose 4. Take 1 damage. Does Pathfinder have like an opposite of fast healing? Oh, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for fast damage, essentially. Gain quicken and clumsy. Take 1 damage. Wait, how much is this? Do you take? Take 1 damage at the end of each of your turns as flesh case. Okay. Take 1 damage at the end of each of its turns. Not reduced by existences. So this is basically it's speeding up, becoming less accurate, and it's sort of like grinding against itself and sort of wearing it down. Um, here, these aren't part of Shake. This is just part of Bloodied Actions. Shake off the rust. Actually, I don't think we're gonna have Bloodied Actions. It's just gonna be conditions. Oh wait, that's too far. What? So shakes off the rust, maybe impair sight, and maybe save against like sickened. What the heck is that? That's crazy. I've never seen that before. Okay. Is there anything in here that makes sense? Resting touch. Nope. Rust Scarab. Come on. Okay, Metal Wisp. A Rust Cloud Aura as Metal Wisp. What the hell is Metal Wisp? What is that thing? I've never seen that before. Rust Cloud. Metal Wisp is constantly crowned by rust like that causes it to be concealed from creatures more than 5 feet away. You are difficult for one or more creatures to see due to thick fog or some other obscuring feature. You can be concealed to some creatures but not to others. While concealed, you can still be observed, but you're tougher to target. The creature must... Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that. Shake out the rust. Rust Cloud. Metal Wisp. So this makes you concealed to things that are more than 5 feet away from you. I don't think we need to... Since there's already something in the game for it, I don't think we need to apply Sickened or anything like that. Honestly, I think we might be good. Unless anybody's got an idea for whatever the ability is called where the Golem uses Fortitude against Trip and other features that would knock it prone. Instead of Reflex. And we can't have features that knock it prone. It would just be against Trip because it would fall. It would then conflict with itself doing that flat check against being prone. Anybody have an idea about what this should be named? If not, we can get to this. Oh, any clues that you might be fighting a tarnished golem? Before the party would encounter them. I like that. Solid foundation. As soon as I find where it is. Dust on the ground. Oh, you're back up to this. Scatterings of rust. Sounds of whooping / grinding metal. Broken floor tiles / cracked stone. Because they're so heavy, is my thinking. Maybe a body cleaved in two. Oh yeah, because it's so tall. Uh, maybe scrapes on a ceiling. Like it's hunched over, walking through, and it's still scraping a ceiling or something. Uh, uh, body crushed in a crater. Crater might be a little bit too bad. People know what it means. Crater. Small crater. Okay, I think that's pretty good for pre-encounter. Uh, the easy recall lore, I think, should probably be the inscription slash heart. So players know that that is sort of their goal for the encounter. Make that an easier thing to know. Something maybe medium is. I didn't need that. Weak points. Let's go with. And because we don't want to have a big knowledge gap for like how to do the fight basically. Medium I think should be the water causing drained. And then hard might be the fire healing. Hey Dino, thanks. Lure item, whatever it was protecting. Puzzle, we already sort of worked that into the overall thing. Oh, wait. Did we still want to do the control rod thing? The cheat brought up the Iron Golem from Minecraft earlier. I've never actually played Minecraft. Yes, I've never played Minecraft. I know. A lot of people have that reaction. Did we want to still do the control rod? What? It's will save because we got that. We got its components as a guardian. We've got the hardness done with its weak points. Fading sentience we already got. Weapons, stomp, cleave, range. We didn't need that. Control rod is the only thing left. So it's will saves. Wait, where did its will save? So it's will plus 4. Um, so it should be DC 14. So it has like a 50-50 chance of not working, and then a 50-50 chance again. of gaining control. Oh, it's definitely pretty fun. So control rod, so it's 50% chance of it not working because of its fading sentience. The control rod is DC 14. Will save. And oh, we still got to figure out its shield. DC 14 will save. You take control. Okay. So it's still likely to fail, but 25% of the time it should work. Should there be charges? Should the control rod have like 2 charges or something like that? Or how do we want the control rod to work? Because the control rod may not exist depending on how the DM wants to use it. Yep. 25% of the time it works every time. Nah, I think. Well, should it have more than one charge? Should you get more than one attempt to use the control rod? I guess is what I'm saying. Because my expectation of a control rod is you present the control rod and it makes the will save. If it fails the will save, it comes under your control. Should you get more than one attempt at that in an encounter? Because this is a control rod is a 25% chance to end an encounter immediately. So you think it should have 2 charges, like daily? Well, okay, that's another thing, Psycho Gaze. Or wait, who's the one that brought it up? Yeah, Psycho Gaze is the one that brought it up. If you take control of it, you present the rod to assert your dominance over the golem. And do you need to use it each time you command it? So, like, each time you issue a command, you need to use a charge? How does suggestion work? Maybe that's a good basis. Honey words are difficult for a creature to resist. You suggest a course of action to target, which must be phrased in such a way as to seem like a logical course of action to the target and can't be self-destructive or obviously against target self-interest. Target must attempt a will save. I think maybe we have it be based around suggestion. So oh wait, is there command? That might be better. The creature must spend the first action next turn. It must use all its actions on its next turn to obey your command. Uh, Um, we could just use the command spell, but failure is treated as critical failure. I think maybe it beelines to you if you use it too much. A couple times, but it can be found with fewer depending on how long the DM wants to add. I would say maybe 2 or 3 times you can use it if it hasn't unrusted itself, but if it has, then the chances of success go down. Okay, so let's actually adjust this. Success. Golem targets user rod. Success. Golem is unaffected. Fail. Golem must oh wait. Use all of its actions on its next turn to follow the commands. The command. And then crit fail. Golem comes under the complete of the rod's holder. Alright, that looked reasonable. So control rod, DC 14 will save to take control of the golem. Critical success, the golem targets the user of the rod on its next turn. Success, golem is unaffected, and then fail, golem must use all of its actions on its next turn to follow the command, and then critical fail, the golem comes under the complete command of the rod's holder. Until the rod is no longer invested. Invested, for those more familiar with D&D, is... What word did D&D use? Attuned. I'd say what? 3 charges? 3 charges per day. That seem okay for the control rod? We do need to figure out the shield for ray shield. So shield equipment shields. Is there an iron shield? No, there's not. There's steel shield and a tower shield. Tower shield. Massive shields can be used to provide cover to nearly the entire body. Due to their size, they're not made of wood. They're typically made of wood reinforced metal. Hardness 5. Break threshold 20. AC bonus +2. Oh, right. There's runes for shields now. Shield runes. That's what we want. Reinforcing rune minor. Shield's hardness increased by 3, gains an additional 44 hit points, and its break threshold by 22. You know, I think we could say it's a tower shield reinforcing 1. Okay. Okay. So that would mean it's hardness 8. It would gain +2 AC, hardness 8, and increased by 3, gains an additional 44 hit points as breaking thresholds increased by 22. 64 and 32. I believe that's what that becomes. Right? Plus 44 hit points and break threshold +22. Hit points 20. Oh, so plus 44. So that would be 64. That is correct. And then 10 plus 22. Okay, yeah, that is correct. Reinforcing tower shield. So it would drop a reinforcing tower shield. Although it's huge, so I don't think a player would be able to use it, right? Shield and be turned into a reinforcing tower shield. Yeah, but a giant barbarian would only be able to use one wielded by a large creature. This is huge. It's huge. I guess then it's axe, so we need to know what kind of axe it would be able to be. Actually, let's just say reinforcing rune, shield rune. Honestly, runes make a lot of sense for it to have like drops. So let's go to runes. Shield runes, fundamental weapon runes, weapon potency 1. Oh, potency. Okay. I always thought there was a second T there. Property rune, maybe? Uh, crushing rune. And let's actually add that to bloodied. Critical hits apply clumsy 1 and enfeeble 1. Fundamental armor runes. Okay, never mind. Armor property runes. That's not super impressive. What is this? Menacing rune. That seemed good. Specific loot. Weapon potency 1, crushing rune, reinforcing shield rune, and menacing rune. I don't think it would attempt to demoralize. Yeah, maybe it could. Skills. Intimidation. Let's go back to... here. Skill plus 10. Intimidation plus 10. And athletics plus 10. Yeah. Intimidation plus 10, athletics plus 10. I think that's probably pretty good. Is everybody generally happy with this? Cool. Oh, right. It's lair. So hazards. Actually, give me just 1 second. I wanted to check out doing a lair as hazards. Give me just 1 second. Sorry about that. All right. So hazards. All right. This was the list of hazards. So find something that's level 3. What would you imagine would be the lair for a golem like this? Ancient ruins full of statues. I guess it doesn't technically need lair stuff. I think I think we're probably okay without this having specific lair stuff. Because this is more of like any ancient ruin this could be in. So people could then, I guess, select hazards for the lair that they want anyway. So I think we're pretty much good. Thank you everybody for hopping in, participating, helping out. We are gonna do this again next week. Does before we go, does anybody have any suggestions for the monster next week? I can pull up our list that we have going. I shouldn't need any of these, so we should be good. Thanks. Any thoughts on monsters next week, or any creatures on this list that stand out that you would like as options for this next week? Or any that aren't on this list? I was thinking of owlbears. Okay. Is that on here? I don't think it is. I will make sure that is on the poll for this week. I was thinking of maybe leaning into uh like Christmas themed ones. Chimera, yeah. Chimera's on here. Rock or Chimera. Okay. I was thinking of like Christmas themed ones also, so maybe I'll do Owlbear, Chimera, and Yeti slash Abominable Snowman. Does that sound good? So Owlbear, Chimera, and Yeti for this next week. All right. Thank you everybody for hopping in, helping out, and participating, or just hanging out and watching along. Gonna do this again next week. Since I know what the poll is gonna be, I'm just gonna go ahead and post it now. And I'll link it in the Discord and I guess the Blue Sky and X also. So thank you everybody for joining, and see you next week. Bye.